Hey gang, and welcome back. These videos are brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your unused collection fast and easily. 401 Games, Canada's top shop for all your hobby and TCG needs. Dragon Shield, the strongest sleeves for your strongest decks. Moxfield, the easiest way to store and share your deck lists. And Foil Armor, flatten your foils fast. Holy Hobbits, we've got a game, with Max winning the die roll and starting us off. Max draws, plays a forest and casts Birds of Paradise. Sammy plays a land and passes. Arja's got a Sea of Clouds, tapping it to suspend an Ancestral Visions. Metya's turn has him playing a mountain and casting Ragavan. Max plays a forest and casts a Farhaven Elf, going to find a basic to put the field tapped. Sammy's land for turn is a Tainted Peak, and he then casts Andúril and passes. Arja's upkeep has him removing a counter from the Ancestral Vision, playing a mountain, and then paying enough for Kitza and passes. Metya's got an Inventor's Fair, and going to combat, swings Ragavan at Sammy. He connects, making a treasure token, and exiles Book of Marzabul. He casts it, amassing Orc 1 as it comes in. Max's turn has him playing a Blinkmoth Nexus, and he then casts Beorn. Moving to combat, he turns his Farhaven Elf into a bear, and then hits Metya. Sammy's land for turn is a Dragonskull Summit, and he casts the Great Goblin, and ships it. Arja's turn has him removing an Ancestral Visions counter, playing a mountain for turn, and then activates Kitza, drawing a card and discarding a card. Metya draws, and continues to amass 2 on Orcs thanks to Book of Marzabul. He then pays 1 red for Curse of Opulence, putting it onto Arja. Going to combat, Ragavan strangely attacks Sammy. He connects and exiles Kiki-Jiki off the top. Metya then plays a tap Myriad Landscape and passes to Max. Max has got a forest for turn, and then pays enough for Garruk's Uprising, drawing a card as it enters. He follows up with an Owlbear Cub, which because of Beorn's pump, is able to draw him another card. Moving to combat, he has the Beorn trigger going on the bird. He then swings the Farhaven Elf at Arja, and Beorn goes at Metya. This has him getting a gold token, and he passes after they connect. Sammy's got a Luxury Suite, and then equips his commander with Andúril, and goes to combat. He swings at Arja, getting to put a counter onto all of his creatures, which triggers the Great Goblin. Dealing 2 to Metya, Arja then takes the hit for 4. During the end step, Arja casts Vivi's Persistence and makes a wizard token. Arja's upkeep has him removing a counter from the visions, and then activates Kitza to loot, and just passes. Metya's upkeep has him gaining 1, and he plays a Fomori Vault. He then puts the last counter onto his Saga. Going to combat, Ragavan goes at Arja, and he makes a gold token, and makes a deal with Max to not take up Beorn. Max agrees, and Metya's second main phase has him casting a Blazing Fire Slinger, and passing. Max's turn has him casting a Lotus Cobra first, and then plays a land, floating a mana. He casts Kadama, and draws a card from the Garruk's Uprising. Moving to combat, the Lotus Cobra becomes a bear, and Max draws a card. Beorn then goes at Sammy, Birds of Paradise and Farhaven Elf go at Metya, and the Owlbear Cub goes at Arja. On attack, he makes a gold token, and because of the gold token, Max is able to put a land into play, floating another mana from the Lotus Cobra. Metya then moves to blocks, trading some creatures, and after combat, Max passes. Sammy takes 3 to play a Bogart Bog untapped, and then pays 6 mana for Muxus. He hits Goblin Matron, Champion of Weird, Misty Mountain Raider, and Great Goblin Foul-Hearted. This has him amassing 2, which because counters are put into a goblin, deals 2 damage to Max. He then tutors for Krenko thanks to the Goblin Matron. At this point Sammy has City's Blessing, and he then goes to combat. He swings the Great Goblin at Metya, and on attack, Andúril because of City's Blessing puts 2 counters onto each of his creatures. This gives him 7 instances of 2 damage, plus he also gets to amass 2 for an extra 2 damage. This has Sammy dealing 12 to Max, 2 to Arja, and 2 to Metya. Matt then chump blocks, and Sammy passes. Arja removes his last counter on Ancestral Vision, drawing 3 cards, and deals 1 because the wizard token sees a spell being cast. He then draws for turn, and activates Kitsa to loot a card. He then casts Tursa Light Shatter, discarding 2 as she enters. One of the cards he draws is a Riverpire Verge, and Arja then goes to combat. He swings Tursa and Mathieu for 3, exiling Multiversal Recruitment on attack. Mathieu gains 1 on his upkeep from the Inventor's Fair, and swings Ragavan at Arja. He gets a gold token, and then exiles Veyran, plus makes a treasure token. In his second main phase, Mathieu then casts Blasphemous Act, wiping the board. Because the Great Goblin sees creatures getting taken out, Sammy exiles his top 6. Mathieu then follows up by casting Veyran, and passes to Max. Max has got a Fountain Port for his land drop, and then casts a Thundering Velocipede. He then follows up with a Defiler of Vigor. Once that's out, he casts a Scavenging Ooze, which gets him a Defiler trigger, and responding to this, he crews up the Velocipede. He then adds a counter to his entire board. He draws another card as this enters as well. With nothing else, Max passes. Sammy's got a Swamp, and casts Dreadhorde Invasion. Sammy then brings out Marhur Uruk-hai Captain, and he then casts a Skull Clamp. He ships it after that. Arja's got a Mystic Sanctuary, and then brings out Gandalf. He follows up by casting Pongify and destroys the Defiler. He passes, and during the end step, Mathieu cracks his Myriad Landscape to go and find 2 mountains. Mac gains 1 from the fair, and then plays Misty Mountain Cold. With the trigger to put a counter onto the saga, he cracks a treasure and floats some mana so he doesn't sacrifice it immediately, and he then uses the floating mana to help cast Smaug. He then plays at a Guild Artisan, and he moves to combat. Mathieu swings Smaug at Sammy, and makes 2 treasures on attack. He then has the Smaug trigger dealing with the Scavenging Ooze, and Sammy takes the 4 in the air, and Matt passes. Max's main phase has him recasting Beorn, and he draws as it enters. Beorn also gets 3 counters thanks to the Velocipede, and moving to combat, bears up the Pongify Frog token. He then swings at Mathieu, dealing 6. Sammy loses 1 to Dreadhorde Invasion, making a Zombie Army token, but gets 2 counters on it thanks to Marhur. He then equips Anduril onto Marhur Uruk-hai Captain, and he swings him at Mathieu. On attack, all of his creatures get 2 plus 1 plus 1 counters. Mathieu then takes 5. In his second main phase, Sammy casts Beseech the Mirror, sacrificing the Zombie Army token. This has him tutoring 4 and then casting for free a Howl Squad Heavy. He starts his engine as it comes in. Arja's turn has him casting Kakar Zephyr Awakener, and he then takes 3 to play Seagate Reborn untapped. He follows up with Ashling Rekindled, drawing a card and discarding a card, and passes after that. Mathieu's upkeep has Smaug making him a treasure, gaining 1 from the Inventor's Fair, and then puts the final counter onto Misty Mountain Cold, making a treasure and sacrificing it to make a dragon token. He then plays the Lonely Mountain tapped. Going to combat, Smaug goes at Max, making 2 treasures from Guild Artisan on attack. He also targets Max with a Smaug trigger for 7. Before moving to blocks, Max activates his Blinkmoth Nexus and throws it in front. Mathieu's second main phase has him activating Fomori Vault, discarding Sarkhan, and gets to look 8 cards deep. He then casts Twin Flame Tyrant and passes to Max. Max's land is an Inkmoth Nexus this time, and he casts Kogla, and as it enters, has the fight trigger targeting the Tyrant. Mathieu responds with a Bolt Bend and redirects the target to Marhur. Max then uses Kogla to crew up the Velocipede, and moving to combat, it gets turned into a bear thanks to Beorn, and he swings it at Mathieu. And after blockers are declared, Max uses Beast Within on the Twin Flame Tyrant. With not enough toughness to absorb all the damage from Trample, Mathieu is then taken out, and Max passes. Sammy's upkeep has him losing 1 to Dreadhorde Invasion and makes an army token. He then casts a Skirk Prospector. He follows up by tapping some mana to convoke out Bloodline Bidding and names goblins. With that on the stack, Arja casts a Fierce Guardianship to counter it. He also gets to blink Aisling, who will come back at the end of turn. Moving to combat, Sammy makes a Goblin token from the squad and swings it at Max. In his second main phase, Sammy then clamps the army token and draws 2. Arja's upkeep has him paying 1 blue to flip Aisling, and he floats 2 mana. He then casts Quain, and follows up by casting Urza's Ruinous Blast. All non-legendary things are exiled. He moves to combat and gets his Gandalf trigger, which in turn allows him to cast an Improvisation Capstone for free. He hits a Cryptic Command, and picks the mode to bounce Beorn and draw a card. He then swings out at Max. Max then takes the hit for 8, and Arja passes. Max recasts Beorn, and then follows up a Shamanic Revelation, drawing 2 cards and gaining 8 life. Moving to combat, Kogla becomes a bear, and he swings him at Arja. Arja stops 1 of it with the Spirit token, but still takes 11 from Trample. Sammy's turn has him recasting the Great Goblin, and he follows up with Goblin Recruiter. He goes to find a bunch of goblins, namely Conspicuous Snoop, Bogart Cursecrafter, Impulsive Pilferer, and Legion Warboss. He ships it after that. Arja draws, and in his main phase, recasts the Improvisation Capstone, hitting Mystic's Mastery. This has him giving flashback to Elminster's Simulacrum. He then casts it, and copies Beorn and the Great Goblin. Arja then activates Quain, drawing the table a card and gaining everyone 1 life. He then casts the adventure half of Gandalf, which is Flame Shape, exiling his top 2. He follows that up by casting Big Score, discarding a card, and then drawing 2 and making 2 treasure tokens. His copy of Beorn triggers and makes Kaikar into a bear. He then has the Gandalf trigger casting Reality Strobe. He bounces Beorn and then suspends it with 3 counters onto it. He swings it at Max, and on attack with Gandalf, gets to return Vivi's Persistence to hand. Max draws and swings Kogla at Arja, and on attack, he targets to destroy one of the treasure tokens, but Arja sacrifices it to help cast Vivi's Persistence. He then moves to blocks, and Arja puts a 3/2 and 6 spirits in front of Kogla. Before damage, Max casts Return of the Wild Speaker, but doesn't pump Kogla, and instead draws a bunch of cards. He then moves to a second main phase after Kogla is taken out, casting Ayula's Influence and passing to Sammy. Sammy's turn has him casting Conspicuous Snoop, and Max responds to this, discarding 4 lands to make 4 2/2 bear tokens. Sammy then gears up the Great Goblin with Andoril, and he follows up by casting Collective Inferno and names Goblin. He moves to combat and swings the Great Goblin at Max. This triggers Andoril, adding 2 +1/+1 counters onto his board, which in turn gives him 3 triggers of 4 damage, and 2 of them go at Max, and 1 of them goes at Arja. Arja responds with a trigger targeting him, and uses Deflecting Swat to switch to Max. He also gets to deal 1 to Sammy and Max with the Wizard token. This has Max then getting taken out from all the triggers, and with nothing else, Sammy passes. Arja's turn has him recasting Improvisation Capstone, and the Wizard deals 1 to his opponents. He hits Balmor Battle Mage, and Inspiring Refrain, drawing 2, and dealing another 1 with the Wizard, and then suspends the spell. Moving to combat, Gandalf becomes a bear, and he gets to draw a card with the Beorn trigger. He then goes all out at Sammy, recasting Vivi's Persistence, which again deals 1 with the Wizard tokens, plus pumps his team with Balmor, and this is enough to deal lethal to Sammy and win him the game. Game review time. So I definitely enjoy the fantasy adjacent universes beyond. I don't know, something about contemporary universes just doesn't do it for me. Sign me up for Lord of the Rings, Final Fantasy, any of that kind of stuff. Even He-Man, I'm super stoked about that Secret Lair. I'm really excited at the idea of building Smaug the Impregnable a little bit more than the other one. The other one just feels like a dockside, which I'm not super down with. Whereas Impregnable, you really want to build in a specific direction with a lot of damage spells, and I think that's really cool. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, but it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.